And we do a lot of free stuff, right? So in order to get someone to join us on Patreon, we put out almost content every day for free. And now we're on YouTube. So we were pretty hesitant on YouTube for a few years, but the last year or so, we've been very active on YouTube. And what I initially thought, which was interesting, was that that may actually take views away from our podcast, because if people have it on YouTube, then that'll take away the downloads from the podcast app. And then we have ads on the podcast. So would that take away from ad revenue? And what I found is that not only did it not do that, it actually tripled our downloads. The reason for that is the demographic on YouTube is completely different than the demographic of people who listen to like podcasts on their app, on their commutes or cooking or going to the gym or whatever. It's a totally new set of eyeballs. So that's another part of the funnel. And it's all just feeding in to getting these people involved. For those of you who don't know about this book, you should pick it up. It's called Jab, Jab, Right Hook, and it's by Gary Vaynerchuk. It's actually a few years old, and it might be a little bit outdated now, but the general principle is the same. The reason it's called Jab, Jab, Right Hook is because he believes that jabbing people, and by jabbing, it means free content, free content, free content, free content. If you jab people enough with free content and constant value the entire time, when you eventually land the right hook, which is asking someone to purchase something, that right hook really lands, because you're not spamming people with buy this, buy that, buy this, buy that. What you're doing is you're providing a lot of value. And by free content, again, I don't mean just putting out free content that necessarily doesn't hit home. You want to provide value as much as you can. You really want to lay it out there. But with regards to getting people to actually buy into something, you want to jab them enough with free content and value. By the time you land your right hook, even if they don't really need that product, they feel almost obligated out of some sense of just gratitude, obligation, wanting to support you. They're more likely to buy that product. So that's what we've been doing essentially for years. And again, it hasn't been, I think we're over 1,100 patrons now. And it's not like it was 1,100 patrons right overnight, but it was this gradual increase. And now we have revenue through Patreon subscriptions, through YouTube ads, through podcast ads, through sponsorships like Manscaped, and then also in conjunction to the written work we do. So that's basically what a marketing funnel is. You want to get them in this funnel, and it's a gradual process. And I wanted you guys to understand this. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's something that's very gradual. So now we get to this stage of how do you find these people to begin with? That's the key. That's the trick, right? Because it's one thing to know how to put people through a marketing funnel, but it's one thing to actually find these people and get them to learn about your existence. And I can tell you right off the bat that I get a lot of emails regularly from people asking me like, hey, can you look at this podcast I'm doing? There's a lot of Ray Amjad podcasts that come and go. There's a lot of football podcasts that come and go. And the reason why they come and go is for a couple of reasons. One is people lose momentum. And two, it's because they don't really know how to generate traffic. And again, like I said, they don't really know how to monetize it. You have to work the algorithm in your favor. So, just when I thought we couldn't possibly put out more content than we already have. And to this day, I get amazed when people, because we look at exit surveys when people leave our Patreon, and I never get upset when people leave our Patreon. It's kind of like a revolving door, right? They come and they go. Maybe they take a break in the off season, they come back. But some people will put out that managing Madrid wasn't as active as I expected, and I think to myself, I'm just laughing. I'm like, dude, if I was any more active, I'd literally be in a coffin, because it's not possible. Like, I'm killing myself. We're all killing ourselves. It's crazy. But just when I thought we couldn't put out more content, we had a meeting with our bosses at SB Nation, and they said, look, we got to go daily now. It's crazy. And so now that's part of the reason why you see things like Daily Drop, where we're just trying to fill in content. And luckily we cover Ray Amjad, the biggest club in the world, so it's not that hard, to be quite honest, but it is also exhausting. So what that does is it gets the algorithm in your favor. So the general rule of thumb is as long as you have 8-hour windows in between your content, you should be fine, because it takes about eight hours for the general consumer, the general fan of something to consume the content you're putting out and be ready for the next one. So as long as you're not cluttering it more than that, it's 8 hours between stuff is pretty good. So what I wanted to also emphasize is you never want to sell someone something when you're not when the consumer is not at an emotional high. If you ask someone to buy something when they're not really emotionally ready for it, it's a disaster. Think about, like, if you're walking down the street and a homeless guy comes up to you and is like, please give me money, or someone random who doesn't even know you comes up to you and asks, hey, do you want to buy this? You guys can all easily say you're not going to buy that product, right? When you're more likely to go somewhere or something, think about this example. If you're just like at home by yourself and your friends text you and they're like, hey, you want to go out? Maybe you're feeling lazy. Maybe you don't really want to go. Flip it now to when you're already out with your friends and maybe you're out at a restaurant and all of a sudden you're having a great time. And I mean like having a fantastic time. You want to maybe someone suggests in the group, okay, like while everyone's laughing, let's go here. You're way more likely to go to that place if you're on an emotional high. The same thing works in business and marketing. That's why we always put the call to action at the end of the call, at the end of the podcast, at the end of the free call. Hey, did you have fun? Cool. Join us on Patreon. And usually, like, it's really effective on, after Instagram lives, on YouTube lives, on, at the end of a Twitter thread, for example. Maybe you put out a massive Twitter thread that is 9 or 10 tweets. And at the end, hey, if you like this, go and click here, go visit my websites, whatever it is in the funnel you want to put. You always want to close on an emotional high. So it's always at the end of something that's fun. And you always have to make sure it's fun. So this goes back to the quality and content debate, or quality and marketing debate rather. Marketing is important, but if people are not enjoying the free content you're putting out, they're not going to buy it. So again, put the call to action at the end, but make sure the entire thing is amazing and it provides a ton of value. That's the only secret. That's it. That's the secret. Provide a ton of value. Make sure people are having fun. Make them laugh if you can. That's why we try to, not take ourselves too seriously. We want to be a little bit relatable. We don't want to be too rigid. But if it's not jokes or whatever, it's value. It's analysis. Make sure that people are really enjoying and they're really engaged at the end. Ask them to, hey, join the Patreon. And when you want to ask them to buy something, never say, buy this product. Never say, word it so that, reframe it so that it gives them the value and not yourself the value that you're selling. So instead of saying, hey, come join our Patreon, come give us money so that, we can put content for you. What you want to do is like, hey, did you like this? Join the Realmjer family. You're going to get a ton of value. You are going to have a great time inside this thing, to the point where it's like you don't even have to talk about like $3 a month or whatever. All you have to say is be a part of this special thing. You are going to love it. You are going to have so much fun. Flip it that way. Never make it a selfish point where it's like you're coming to my thing. You're buying from me. You're giving me money. It's always the other way. Tell them what they're getting in return. Tell them how it's going to bring value to their lives. So if I had to summarize this, the marketing funnel aspect of this is get the marketing funnel, be active on all channels, and work the algorithm in your favor. The way you can work the algorithm in your favor is by being incredibly consistent. So for us, it's literally daily content, both in written and podcast form. And work the algorithm in your favor, provide a ton of value, and have the call to action at the end after you have done that, and make sure it's about them. you have to get rid of that part of your personality entirely. Laziness, procrastination, create systems that eliminate that altogether. You have to have zero tolerance for that stuff. Zero tolerance. Every moment from when you wake up should be about purpose. Every night when you go to bed, you have to know what you're doing the next day. Don't put your phone beside your bed. It should be on the other side of the room when the alarm goes off or whenever you wake up, so that you can't get up out of bed. You can't stay in bed and scroll your phone. It should start there. Ideally, it should start the night before. So tonight when you go to bed, outline what you're doing tomorrow and attack it. Attack it. That'll be what separates you from the rest. Put your phone away from your bed, so when you wake up, you have to physically go across the room to get your phone so you're not scrolling in bed. Don't take your phone to the bathroom. Put your phone on airplane mode. Eliminate all notifications. Delete your apps. And have a plan of attack every single day so that you know when you wake up, you know exactly what you're doing. Part of the reason why procrastination exists is that people don't really have a plan of attack. Everyone will have this problem at some point in their lives, but the thing that separates people from, for lack of a better word, greatness and mediocrity is that the people with greatness are not people with special powers or more talent. They're just people who are more disciplined and they create plans of attacks and systems. That's all it is. So if you're sitting at your screen, looking at your screen instead of doing the work, there's a deeper problem there. There's a problem of don't even rely on motivation. Like, so what's going to happen after this call? You and a lot of people will be motivated to do something the next day. The trick is, can you be motivated a month from now when this call is long forgotten and I'm not here to light a fire under your ass? You have to be disciplined to do this every day. So that's part of the reason why it's good to have mentors. Like, this is why I have mentors in my life that I physically pay to keep me accountable. Maybe you want to look into that, but forget about motivation. You need to have the discipline and the clarity in the direction you're going in so that you don't stare at your screen. I think you need to really, really have plans of attacks and systems, and it starts from the night before. So tonight you have to get that done. Map out your entire day, eliminate decision fatigue so you're not thinking about anything because it's already mapped out and you do it. And don't be afraid to schedule in points in your day where you can check your phone for 30 minutes, where you do exercise, where you do maybe even take a nap, where you prepare your meals or whatever. Don't be afraid to do that. But the point is, do it planned and not aimlessly throughout the day so that you're focused and on point, okay?